Right lads, I'm your host of Man And His Kebab, and welcome back to... not video game versus... Let me explain. So originally, the plan was to do a traditional video game versus between LEGO Star Wars The Complete Saga and LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. But after 20 hours of playing the latter, yeah, there's not really any comparison. Now that's not in any way saying The Complete Saga is a bad game. It is indeed a classic. It says so on the box. But in the 15 years between these two games, a lot has changed, including 2 recessions. The Skywalker Saga is pretty evidently one of the best, if not the best LEGO game ever made. But I still thought it'd be fun to look at some of the key similarities and key differences between these two games. So when it comes to the story, I mean, it's Star Wars, alright. Yeah, okay, there's a bit more to it than that. Both games follow the storyline of the first 6 movies, with the latter also having episodes 7 to 9, because they didn't exactly exist when the Complete Saga released. Better days. The key difference in how the stories are presented is in the dialogue. The Complete Saga, as you'll know, had no dialogue, instead opting to use grunts and mumbles, telling the story as if a mime would. Now mumble mode does exist in the Skywalker Saga, but the key focus is of course on the voice acting, with many voice actors from the Clone Wars returning, such as James Arnold Taylor as Obi-Wan, and Matt Lanter, I think that's it, as Anakin. However, some of the actors from the original trilogy do reprise their roles, including Anthony Daniels as C-3PO and Billy D. Williams as Lando. Another key difference in how the stories are presented is in the cutscenes. In the Complete Saga, the cutscenes were pretty minimalistic, pretty much tell as much of the story as you possibly can in a short time frame to get straight back to the gameplay. They did also have elements of humour mixed in, but they pale in comparison to the Skywalker Saga, which granted still don't tell the full story, but are much more cinematic and of better humour in my opinion. In fact, I actually enjoyed Jar Jar's portrayal in this game a lot more than I actually enjoyed him in The Phantom Menace. Although yes, both have the exact same source material, it's interesting to see how the developers of the Skywalker Saga were able to portray it in a new light and not just redo the same thing over. When it comes to LEGO games, gameplay is obviously the key focus, like with most games. Starting off with the Complete Saga, the formula is pretty simple. Pick a movie, pick a level, and away you go. The levels themselves are relatively short, usually about 15 to 20 minutes, and can range from small, close quarters battles on board the Death Star to huge battles in the space above Coruscant. In these levels, you use a variety of characters to battle enemies, solve puzzles, and battle bosses such as Darth Vader and Darth Maul. We also have achievable collectibles such as mini kits and True Jedi status, achieved by collecting a certain amount of studs. We also have a hub, the Cantina, where you can buy extra characters, vehicles, extras, and play small bonus levels. And that is essentially the gameplay of the Complete Saga. Is it simple? Very. But that doesn't mean it's any less fun. Now the Skywalker Saga takes this relatively simple formula and adds 3 kilos of Columbia made Star Spangled powder. The first thing you'll notice about this game is getting into a level isn't as easy. Instead, you'll have to get to it first by travelling across one of the many hub planets, each of which are filled with hundreds of collectibles and secrets. The levels themselves are relatively simple, but take better advantage of the new combat systems, which I'll discuss in a few minutes. These levels, however, do feel much shorter in comparison to their Complete Saga counterparts. It also feels like part of the movies were also glanced over or cut out completely, most notably the Battle of Geonosis and the lack of a gunship level. Although this new format does work pretty well, there's a couple of times where you walk to an objective thinking you're going to be playing a level, only for a cutscene to play and it tells you to walk somewhere else. However, one thing I cannot praise enough is how good the boss battles look and play. They are incredibly cinematic, and although they can feel a tad repetitive at times, they are far superior to that of its counterpart. I also felt as if the game as a whole took a few cues from Disney Infinity, which would make sense, Disney do own Star Wars, but I don't really have any evidence of this besides the guide sprite looking the same. The Complete Saga is pretty simple. Not boring, but simple. It pretty much boils down to spamming X, jumping and spamming X, or pressing B occasionally. Combat in the Skywalker Saga, yeah, it's a tad more in depth. We now gain the ability to aim not just blasters, but also lightsaber throws, and the objects we throw with the Force. We also gain more intricate attacks, which can now be comboed up, and on the defensive side, blocking and dodging now actually have uses. We also have an entirely new level of progression with the introduction of a skill tree, and overall, there's more of a reason to fare one character over another in combat. Space battles also get more depth to them. Instead of being relegated to an on-rails part or a small 2D space, we now have all of space. What did you expect me to say? Ships can now be controlled in 3 planes: roll, pitch, and yaw. And for any of you who didn't play hundreds of hours of flight simulators as a kid like I did, here's a diagram of that. And they play more like ships do in Star Wars Battlefront 2. Although I'd argue it doesn't pull it off as well as that game. Multiplayer. Oh wait, I forgot. It doesn't fucking have any. Yeah, I bought this game expecting to be able to play online with my good friend Mo.
Hi, my name's Tim the Travelling Tradesman. You might know me from Man And His Kebab TV, from the Christmas special of, what was it, 2021? Whatever year before, right?
Yeah, that's a sneak peek of one of next week's videos, so stay tuned. But guess what? Both games only have split screen. Actually, no, I think the other one is online. Which isn't exactly any use, because what girl is going to be impressed when you bring her back to your room, hand her a controller, and tell her you're playing LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga? Well, I kinda mentioned this in the gameplay section, but let's go a bit more in depth. In terms of extra features and modes, of course the Complete Saga has its mini kits. It also has arcade mode, bounty hunter missions, and 2 LEGO City levels. In terms of unlockables, once again we have extras like ×2 studs, ×4 studs, ×6, 8, 10. Yeah, invincibility, and the more unusual ones like disguises. Yeah, realistically, a lot of the Complete Saga's gameplay is mainly focused around the levels. The same of which cannot be said about the Skywalker Saga, however. Of course the levels are the main focus, but there's plenty to explore in the worlds too. We have every planet here, as far as I can tell, that appears in the movies, from Endor to Naboo, Hoth to Kamino, each of which is a huge sprawling world with its own characters, set pieces, and challenges to boot. Now I haven't fully explored all of these worlds due to the fact that I was kind of under a time constraint to get this video up, hence why it's delayed by 2 days. But from what I have played, it's almost more fun than playing the levels themselves. We also have challenges such as races and random encounters, which are used to collect Kyber bricks, of which there are over 1,000. Jesus, I'll be playing this game for a while. Characters and ships are mainly unlocked through playing story missions, with the options to buy some, alongside DLC characters for shows like The Bad Batch and The Mandalorian, as well as movies like Solo and Rogue One. However, one of the most notable missions we have here is the lack of a character creator. Now yes, I know there are nearly 400 characters in this game, but it is a staple of LEGO games and a notable omission from an overall great package. And that was my relatively short comparison of LEGO Star Wars The Complete Saga and LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. I'm not sure why I had to announce the titles again. Now this video was not intended to be a comprehensive review of either of these 2 games, hence why I might have glanced over some things like some of the glitches in the Skywalker Saga, rather a showcase of what in 15 years has changed between these 2 games. Now which is the better of these 2 games? Well, I think for most it has to be the Skywalker Saga. I absolutely loved the Complete Saga as a kid, but even my nostalgia warped mind can't allow me to see much competition between these 2 games. Anyway guys, once again, I hope you enjoyed this video. If my voice sounds a bit off, I somehow got a cold in April, so fun. If you did enjoy this video, feel free to stick around. Your guys' support is what keeps these videos constantly coming, and of course, I can't thank you all enough for it. But with all that said, I'll see you guys next time.